Evening, hello, welcome along to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. We are talking tonight all of your Manchester United news and updates in and around the club leading into the Manchester derby this weekend, of course. Plenty to talk about there, specifically from the City side of things. But we're starting tonight with something that I've picked out from an article from The Athletic, which worries me and concerns me as to what Ruben Amorim is up against at this football club. I'm going to read through that and gauge your thoughts as we have a good old debate on this evening show on this Wednesday evening tonight. It, for me, tells you exactly where the club was and what Ruben's fighting against. But we'll gauge your thoughts on this as well. More news in and around Manchester United. A few injury updates, of course, as well as we head into the weekend. Obviously, only a couple of days away from Ruben's press conference. And on top of that, some extra little bits of transfer news towards the back end as the Saudi and Turkish leagues transfer window closes. So we'll bring you up to date on Tyrell Malacia, where we're at with Andre Onana. But Andre Onana actually is the hot topic when it comes to this story from Laurie Whitwell and The Athletic and what has been written from him in terms of what's gone on since Andre Onana was told, or it was made clear to him, he is leaving Manchester United. Ruben Amorim feels that Manchester United are better. I feel like we are getting better. We've taken a massive step this transfer window. You're not going to get me, as everybody knows who tuned into this show before, you're not going to get me complaining about what Man United did in this transfer window. I think we've done excellent business. I think it's been a very productive window. But we're still fighting against some of the older, I would say, not so much weaker, but the lesser standard thinking type of staff member at Manchester United. I can't think of a better way to describe that there then, but it concerns me when we read into certain things and how people at United are actually thinking and what they're operating. And when it comes to people that should be in a job and making big decisions in and around Manchester United, there clearly is still some people that are not really fit for purpose going off this. Look, I don't want anyone to lose a job, but at the end of the day, United need to get winning. The one man that we need to succeed at Manchester United is Ruben Amorim, and for him to do that, Manchester United have to get motoring on the pitch and we have to start succeeding. Big decisions have been made throughout this transfer window to make sure that that has been made possible and given Ruben Amorim the best chance possible going forward this season. So, looking at this article and what I've picked out, I want to get your thoughts on. So pile into the live chat, please, everybody, and give me your thoughts on this one as well. I'm just going to snip out a little bit of this here. There was a big piece on it, and Andre Onana leaving Manchester United. We've gone over all of that, so we're not going to bore you with that. But here is what some people at Manchester United, and this part of the article is actually titled "A Surprise Decision." A surprise decision. And this is based around Andre Onana leaving Manchester United. Laurie Whitwell reveals figures close to Manchester United to Old Trafford were surprised at Andre Onana's decision as it is effectively ending his United career. Some people close to Manchester United are surprised that Andre Onana, 29, elected to leave rather than try and fight for his place or wait until the European clubs could move for him in the winter market, reports The Athletic writer Laurie Whitwell. Again, let's just get into that for starters already. Just 2 lines in, and it is quite clear. Fight for his place at Manchester United. These are Manchester United staff members that are clearly backing the players on what they think they should be doing. They are surprised that Andre Onana didn't stay and fight for his place. Now, look, Andre Onana's made the best decision possible here in moving away from Manchester United. He has. Any staff member thinking that this is a surprise or they are shocked that he didn't stay and fight for his place, it has just been made abundantly clear. Laurie Whitwell, the same journalist who wrote in The Athletic, a few days ago, talking about how Manchester United were not impressed, particularly Ruben Amorim, with the way that Andre Onana came into pre-season. Not fit enough, hamstring injury, playing on a mud bath, pothole pitch in Cameroon on his break. Coming in, wanting a new wage. We'll get into that as well in a moment. But obviously, it's like, why would you be surprised and why would you think that Andre Onana should stay at Manchester United? These are the staff members that probably speak to the players more than what the manager does. Because Ruben Amorim, like Bruno Fernandes says, and I have backed this up here because Bruno says himself, and he's the captain, the one man that you would expect Ruben Amorim to speak to the most. He has said that he keeps himself to himself. He doesn't talk to us that much. He deals with what's necessary on a training ground and then leaves you to your own devices and obviously expects certain standards to be kept. And I think this is where Ruben has really changed the way that Manchester United operate right now compared to what Ten Hag was, like, always involved, like, talking about the players. Ruben just seems to keep his distance, which I think is the right thing to do. Performances on the pitch are going to determine what happens with these players when they get to training. If them players don't add up too much at training, then Ruben's going to deal with them, as we've seen. And so when you've got staff members talking to Man United players like this, you should be staying, you should be fighting for your place. We're surprised that you are actually wanting to move away to Turkey rather than fight here at Manchester United. Ruben's just made it incredibly clear that Andre Onana, for one, in the last 4 Premier League games, is not number one now. United didn't plan to bring a goalkeeper in, and then they did because they needed someone better than Baindy and Andre Onana. Andre Onana has been made third choice goalkeeper. We did that video weeks ago. And this was sort of a few days ago, sorry. And this was sort of in line with that previous article that Laurie Whitwell wrote about United not being impressed with the way that Andre Onana came back from pre-season. And so reality tells you, and the realism of the situation tells you, that Ruben's made it clear. Why are the staff not on board with what Ruben is wanting from this? Why are they trying to convince? Why are they speaking to the players and talking to them like they should be staying? Like, because the only reason they would be surprised that he hasn't is because of conversations that they've had with the player and the way that that player is. Like, surprised that he's leaving Manchester United. He's the worst goalkeeper in the club's history, and he's leaving his football club because Ruben Amorim has made the right decision as the head coach of this football club. So Jim Ratcliffe has said that he is fully on board with this. Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, how far ever you want to go down the list, it's been made clear that he wants out. So who the hell is surprised at Manchester United that he's not staying and fighting for his place? This is like the mentality at Manchester United I worry about. And you can say that this is going right down deep into the fabric of the football club and it really doesn't matter. But really it does. Because everyone at Manchester United needs to be thinking on the same page. It has to be a level of standard. It has to be a different level of standard at this football club to move forward. This guy needed booting out a year ago. And the fact that Manchester United have just carried on and carried on and carried on, and there's actually people still there that feel like we should have just carried on and carried on and carried on. This would have been a nightmare for Senna Lamens, I feel, with him still being around. And I've made that point clear. That is just my opinion alone. I'm not expecting anyone to agree with that, but I just think 4 goalkeepers was way too much, and everybody knows that and where I'm at with it. I'll read on this article quickly, but that's where we're at with staff members surprised that Andre Onana decided to leave for Turkey. Although it is a straight loan, he's effectively ending his Manchester United career with this switch. An Old Trafford return after a season in the Superliga football is highly unlikely, so Laurie Whitwell doubling down on this being it for Andre Onana, as we've all spoken about and expected anyway. It's been made clear to him that he is no longer top choice at Manchester United, so going out on loan for 1 year, albeit straightforward loan, he will come back. He'll be sent straight back packing again. United's hope in this is that Andre Onana picks up form and then they can sell him for a more substantial fee next summer. We've said this all along. 1 year left on his deal. He's gone. He's never going to play for United again, which is the good news in all of this, obviously, as well. It is a crucial year for the Cameroonian. However, with the Imitable Lions competing in the African Cup of Nations this winter and hoping to qualify for next summer's World Cup. Onana will know the importance of first team minutes at club level to secure his position internationally, and particularly given his previous controversies with the national squad, like when Ten Hag brought him in for that first season. You know what Laurie Whitwell's alluding to there, how he went out to AFCON to play one game and then come back. He didn't even feature in the game that he was rushed to try and get there for in a private jet put on by Manchester United. You all remember that story anyway. Furthermore, the goalkeeper is set to earn double his current salary once he completes the switch to Trabzonspor due to a signing on fee bonuses and more favourable tax rate in Turkey. Whitwell reveals he had hoped to discuss the terms of his contract this summer, an approach which angered Ruben Amorim. Going back to that original article that I was talking about, Onana had wished to discuss his salary with United since his salary was cut from 170 grand per week to 120 grand per week, roughly £67,000 per week after tax, due to the club's failure to qualify for the Champions League after the first campaign. He has people who depend on him in Cameroon, where he has opened an Andre Onana Foundation. So, good, fantastic. But I'm sorry, because he's opened the foundation, he thinks he should be earning more money. The only reason, again, and if you've watched the show before, I'm talking through Laurie Whitwell and his articles, is because he had the inside scoop on Onana when he first came to Manchester United and knows a lot of what's going on and in and around that player, and obviously how the transfer broke into Manchester United in the first place. So, yeah, that's why we're talking about Laurie Whitwell. That's why we're talking about what's happened with Andre Onana there. But this really falls into its significance because Andre Onana's gone. The problem here in this, and what I've got an issue with, is still people at Manchester United thinking that this is a surprise and that Andre Onana should be still there at the football club fighting for his place now. Again, what have we got working for us right now? The standards, where are people at? What's going on at Manchester United? We need to be setting the bar higher than what it has been, and this just isn't good enough, and it's not going to cut it for Manchester United. We're talking about going into a absolute cutthroat group of games here, like I've said many a time. 6 games, which include City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Brighton, with Sunderland and Brentford mixed in the middle of them as well. Not one easy game for Manchester United, and 4 games there on paper that we are shocking in terms of the Derby, Chelsea, Liverpool and Brighton. And we're talking about people here thinking that Andre Onana is still the right man to fight for the number 1 spot at Manchester United. Even if he was leaving in January for a more lucrative deal in Europe, the season's over by then, and we're already too far behind for what we've got to do. Ruben could have been sacked. So again, Man United staff not thinking really long-term in what Ruben Amorim's got to do with it, because if we'd have still had Andre Onana at the football club, there would have been that temptation. And this is what I was worried about when we didn't sign Emi Martinez. But thankfully, United have acted and got rid of Andre Onana. And it's the best decision that the club has made, probably outside of the obvious bomb squad players, this transfer window. And I'm talking about bringing players in as well. One of the key areas that needed to be addressed this summer was that goalkeeper. I'm not talking about the goalkeeping position in general. I'm talking about that goalkeeper, Andre Onana. Manchester United staff members thinking that this guy actually was still the man for Manchester United going forward. That scares me, and where the mentality is and what the standards are at Manchester United. That alone, for me, is the biggest worry right now. That's what I want to get your thoughts on. Are you still worried that Ruben Amorim is fighting against the old system right now? The ownership is there. The structure is there. The management team and the recruitment team is there for Ruben Amorim. But there are still problems behind the scenes that he has to deal with on a day-to-day, by the sounds of it, for me. And that was the concern and what I took from that there. The fact that Andre Onana is gone, brilliant news, and he's not going to come back. That's exactly what we wanted to do. We need to be cutthroat. We need to be ruthless with these decisions right now. We have been too soft and sentimental for years at this football club. And look where it's got us. Give him another chance. Give him another year. We just got rid of Victor Lindelof. We've been doing that for nearly 6 or 7 years with him, and he's been crap. He's only just been picked up on the last day of the window as a free agent. Shows you how bad he is. We've done it with so many different players now. We need to move on from this mentality and go to that next level. If we are going to continuously compete, then this needs to change. This attitude needs to change within Manchester United. Surprised that he's going to leave. Honestly, I cannot believe when I'm reading this stuff, I'm like, who is thinking that? This man single-handedly has buried Manchester United in certain games. Glenn with the super chat says, don't want to disappoint you, Adam, but I'm pretty sure he will have 2 years left after this season, as it is his 3rd year of 5. No, I think he signed a 4-year deal, mate, to be honest. I think he signed a 4-year deal, not a 5-year deal. Let me just double check on Andre Onana's contract, because K-Apology, I'll see we're actually right here actually on this one, mate, but thanks for bringing that up. I'm going to just double check this now. So, Capology, let's see what we see in here. Yeah, no, you seem to be right, mate, on this one. 2 years after this one. Is that right? Going through it now. I think this has changed, or maybe extension is in place. I must have misread the situation. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Manchester United have got ample time to sell him on. I think that was the plan. I was hoping that I was right on that one. But no, you have put me firmly back in my place, my friend, on that one. And I would be disappointed. And I would be a lot angrier with myself right now for getting that wrong. But the fact that Laurie Whitwell said that he's done after this one anyway, and he's still going to be sold on, I'm still okay. I'm all right with it. I must have been getting mixed up with another bleeding player, but I was convinced that he had that. It might have been a different website. Never mind. Anyway, moving on. And cheers for the super chat, Glenn. Thanks for cheering me up, mate. I love that. He's opened that foundation for all the wrong reasons. He's just undermined that foundation massively by seeking money that way. That's such a shame. The video of him actually pushing a fan away, honestly, after that game. I know you're disappointed, mate, but you cannot do that to fans. They shouldn't be on the pitch, no, but you cannot lash out like that. You just have to run away. So, again, that, for me, definitely shows... It's a man under pressure, obviously, but... it's just the worrying concerns within Manchester United sometimes and the people that are in there. It baffles me. It really does. Where's the backup for injured Cunha and broken Mount? Oh, wait, Ruben got rid of the offensive backup. Great genius he is. What defensive backup is that, Adam, mate? Our attacking backup, what did he get rid of? We've got Ahmad, we've got Bruno, we've got Zirkzee, we've got Mainu. All four of them positions that you're talking about there, mate. So he's got rid of players that really we don't need because... they're not good enough, or their attitudes are bang average and not right for Man United, mate, aren't they? Aki says it's all irrelevant. The best keeper in the world can't stop an attack single-handedly. Lamens will no doubt be a better shot stopper, but with Casemiro and Ugarte, our options in midfield, we will leak goals. Look, I don't think Man United's defence was that bad last season. I think a competent, bog-standard goalkeeper who does the basics will save Man United 10 points this season. And 10 points with a better strike force, I think, is a combination that will get Man United back into Europe this season. I do. I think that's where we're actually going to be. Veronica says, at long last, we are doing what we should have done a long time ago, and any members of staff that think that goalkeeper should have stayed, in my opinion, don't have a future at our club. Moving on. Get rid of them as well. Stu says, if he'd have pushed me like that, I'd have swung for me. But if he was trying properly, he'd have probably missed and dropped me, laughing my ass. Yeah, true. Couldn't catch a cold is what a lot of people says with Andre Onana. And look, I need tomorrow to come because this is the day. By the way, on this one, a private jet is being ready for him and his family to fly over to Turkey, and this deal will be finalised. And then I don't have to talk about it anymore. Agree with the comments that we will still lose a lot of games with that midfield, better keeper or not. Yeah, I mean, downbeat people, seriously? Come on! Like, yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but let's not look at the negative on it, please, everyone. Let's try and look at what we are doing, which is the positive on the goalkeeping side of things. Look, if it gains us a few more points and the strike force scores us a few more goals with the possession that we've had in these games, which we've dominated in every game that we've played so far, then Man United will move up that table. We will. So, yeah, I'm still confident. Even with that midfield, we will be in Europe next season. I do believe, like I said before, though, that we are needing the midfielder in January just to back up what we've got. No, not back up what we've got, but to be in there. And then we've got the backup with what we've got already. I got that completely wrong way round. I want to buy a midfielder in January, but I stand by my thoughts. Only buy the best. Pointless buying anybody that's just on the same level as what we've got right now. Because then we're just taking away money and the space for the real player that we need to buy when the summer transfer window comes around again, if that player is available then, if that makes sense. I think it does, doesn't it? Yes. Keep your comments coming in on this. I'm opening it up to everything tonight, everyone. So this is your chance tonight. Have your say on everything. We're back in Europa. Just need to beat Chelsea and Spurs on some occasions. Offering my opinion looks weak. Get over yourself. You sound like a child, says Steve. Who's that aimed to, mate? You're going to have to put a name on that, pal, because there's a lot of people comment in the chat, mate. And yes, I just read your comment out, so not irrelevant. Just saying everything. I know there's people that don't agree with me. Don't be abusive and listen to the facts. It's not me writing these articles. There are staff members that were surprised Andre left. Let that sink in a minute. Dissect it. Digest it a bit more. and then come back with a proper comment. Cheers, matey. Amorim just getting started in cleaning the unsuitable for the rebuild. I expect more to be sold based on performance. Alongside Omar Barada, the vision of 2-year football in terms of not progressing and being kicked out. I think that will happen, and you're dead right on that one, mate. Fonster in the chat. Thank you, mate. Super chat in the bag. Thank you. Adam, would you go for Anderson if he plays well? Would I go for Anderson if he plays well? Do you mean Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest? Which one, buddy? I'm guessing that's who you mean, Forster, isn't it? He's a very good player, him. Very good player. He came in for Danilo when he had that injury at the start of last season. He absolutely shone for Nuno. We'll see how Anderson plays in a Ange Postecoglou side, if indeed it is Elliot Anderson you're talking about, mate. I can only think it is him. We can say Wharton, Semenyo, Amateta next transfer window, since we got at least 200 million to spend. We're not going to go and buy Mateta right now, I don't think. Definitely not, because, well, we can get him on a free if we don't sign a deal now. So he's not signed that deal yet at Crystal Palace, so we don't have to sign him. We don't have to buy him, sorry. We'll get him for free. Or he signs a new deal and that is completely done, mate. So, yeah, we're not going to get Mateta. Wharton would be the one that I would go for. Semenyo, I don't think so, because we've got an abundance of players to play in that 10 role. I really don't think. I think Semenyo's off anyway, and he's signed a new contract. So United are not going to go and spend that much money, which would be absolutely astronomical, on another player like that. So on the situation with Manchester United, actually, when looking at what's going on in the transfer market, or what was for them wide players, there is a story that's floating around right now that Manchester United actually were in for Malik Fofana from Lyon. In the last 2 days of the transfer window, Santiana has reported Manchester United in the last 2 days of the transfer window tried to sign Lyon's Malik Fofana. George Mendes was playing as Manchester United's matchmaker between both clubs and Fofana's father, but the green light never came. So United were going for Fofana in the last days of the window. That's another wide player that you wouldn't have thought United would have been going for. You really wouldn't. But again, the transfer window never ceases to amaze, does it, when it comes to these swerve ball transfers? Could it have been for one of the wing-backs? Could that have been a purchase that United were looking at in the wing-back area? Obviously, Fofana was the sharp, snappy, fast winger that tore us a new one when we were in extra time at Old Trafford against Lyon, when we miraculously came through that game. But no, I've heard about the rumours of going for Fofana, and I know that there was big interest from Manchester United at one point, but in them last few hours of the transfer window, I didn't really hear anything. Romano didn't report anything, neither did Ornstein. If this was the case, I'm sure we would have heard about it, because every single tiny little story in the last hours of a transfer window gets publicised and gets published, and I feel like we would have known if this was true. So again, a few journalists clinging on to some transfer stories right now that might have been, that didn't happen. I'm not fully convinced, I'll be honest. I don't believe in this one. I know there was an interest, but United were all in for a midfielder. Romano said there was only one player United would go for, and that would be a midfielder or a goalkeeper. Ornstein was saying the same. The Athletic was saying the same. On this one, I know there was interest there, and maybe Man United had conversations in the last few hours of the window, the last few days of the window, but there was never real any intention of United going for Fofana, I don't think. Otherwise, he would have been a player that United brought in earlier in the window, because the interest was there very, 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 very quickly into the window when it opened. So, no, I don't think so on that one. Again, it was all on the midfielder. It always will be on the midfielder for Manchester United. So, yeah, let's just see. Let's just see what happens going forward. There's a lot of people reporting that tonight about Fofana. But, again, don't be taken aback by it, I don't think, because it is a international break, and there's a lot of journalists just looking to put anything out there at the moment. So, again, any transfer news like that, it's been and gone. The transfer window's closed. There is nothing happening. United are not going to be going for anybody else, or weren't going for anybody else in the last few hours of that window. I'm pretty certain of that. Glenn, it's quite funny that fans and other clubs would be worried about contracts running down in case they lost players, as we hoping they do, because it's the only way we can get shots of our players. I know what you're saying with that. Cheers for that super chat, Glenn. It is the case, isn't it? That's how poor it is at Manchester United. And again, this is a football club that has... and not so much turned its back. Well, they have turned its back on Andre Onana. They've just said, look, you're not good enough. We have to bring another goalkeeper in because you're crap. Look, West Ham United turned him down because of that Grimsby performance on its own. United knew, I think, at that point, they weren't going to be able to sell Andre Onana, which is why the move went very quickly on a loan away to Trabzonspor, and they're just hoping that Andre Onana can do well over there, and then we could maybe sell him next summer. But he's done at this football club. Either way, he's done. When you make a decision like this, you're all in. And the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, everyone said yes to this transfer happening and Andre Onana leaving on loan, that tells you exactly where we're at, even if Ruben leaves the football club. If Ruben leaves, you would normally think another manager coming in, oh, I might like this goalkeeper. No. Not the case. Not the case with Rashford, not the case with any player that's gone on loan at Manchester United. All of these decisions were made by the football structure, along with obviously Ruben Amorim. And that shows you how well Manchester United at that level are connected, how well their understanding is, and how much of how close they are. And they're all on the same pathway, I feel, at United. And then you've got the staff members in and around the players that have just on different wavelength, completely by the sounds of it. But look, where we are now, I feel, is Manchester United, I think, feel like they're in a comfortable position regarding the transfer business that's been done. I think they're happy with it. We could have done with a midfielder. But again, don't forget, United are back in action in January when this window opens, and those were from the cryptic clues from Fabrizio Romano the other day. So really, this is it. Can't wait for this week to be over because that's transfer windows done everywhere. No more crap stories coming out, and we can fully concentrate on what's in front of us, which is the here and now and the players that we've got within this squad. Onana won't be part of that. If Malacia goes, the update on him is from this morning's show, by the way. He is giving serious consideration to that move to Ayotspor, and it could actually happen. Romano has hinted at him moving, no definites yet. Alex Crook has said that he is interested in this move. TalkSport are reporting that as well, on top of the Turkish report that I said this morning, that they have agreed club to club. So United are willing to agree with anybody. It's on the player. If I'm Malacia, obviously, like we said this morning, you're moving, aren't you? You're gone. Get out of there. Time's up, and find another club to play football with. I think that's where we're at. I think United have put him in that place. But yeah, I do think that United, after everything that's been done, Tyrell Malacia would make an 11th player out, an 11th senior first-team player out at Manchester United this one window alone, which is quite miraculous. It is ridiculous business from United, very good business. And I think this team this season will be better off for it. And Ruben's got what he wants. Ruben also thinks United are better because of this. And this is like what we're saying on this show tonight, that Ruben is convinced that United are moving forward. I think we're actually better right now in terms of players we've got than Manchester City. I do believe that is going into the derby this weekend. The facts, like, obviously we're only 3 games in. We're ahead of City in the league. But we do look better than what City do. Like, they were poor against Spurs. They were poor when they scored the goal against Brighton. Their heads fell off completely in that game as well. And if they lose a 3rd game in a row, we'll see how much pressure comes on Pep. Because if it was Man United losing the 3rd game in a row at the start of this season, Ruben would have been absolutely slaughtered. But because it's Pep, we'll see, won't we? And that's another reason why I want United to beat Man City this weekend, above, on top of everything else. It's just to see what the media say about Pep Guardiola, this super manager that apparently is better than Sir Alex Ferguson in a few people's eyes still. Without money, where would this man be? I know you could say that about a lot of managers, but right now he's having to rebuild Manchester City again. He never stays at a club as long as he has at Manchester City. And I give him credit for that. But he has been given the world, hasn't he, in backing. And I think he's struggling right now. I don't think the players he's brought in are anywhere near as good as the ones he had. And I think he's struggling for replacements. And you know what? When you look at it, when you look at everything that's happening regarding the injury situation and everything right now, Manchester United, I feel, are in a completely different place than Manchester City. I think we're better going into this game than City. Obviously, you've seen the news today about Omar Mamouche, who's on crutches. He's definitely out of this game. There is a lot of Manchester City players that are really struggling to make it for this Manchester derby. There's late fitness tests. There's uncertainty around the players that are available. Look, I said this morning. I never, ever want to go into a derby when City look like they're under par or they're under strength. It always backfires on Manchester United. I would rather just play them with their players in the team. I still think Man United would do okay in it anyway. So, yes. And when we look at everything that's going into it, I mean, you tell me into the comments section right now. Let's open this up and have a little bit of a debate about it. Are you confident going into this? Do you feel like Manchester United are in a better place than Man City right now? Am I wrong in saying that? Am I completely off there with that? Let's get some comments in. Rio Goodman says, you all sound like a biased, typical delusional Man United fans. Brother, if you look at our track record, the chance he flops is much, much higher than him succeeding. Please be honest and stop lying to yourselves. Well, we could all live a life like you, mate, and be completely negative and miserable, Rio. But a lot of us actually feel like the change this summer, someone standing up to the regime, changing everything, and let's be honest, it is different because we've got a different structure, a different football recruitment team. Everything is different. There's no harm in Manchester United fans having a little bit of hope in that RUBEN Amorim, we're making these changes and being backed by the board, where it's never happened before, is actually going to make a difference this season. So, yeah, don't listen to Rio, everybody. If you want to be positive, fine. Rio's got his opinion and he's more than welcome to it. He's not convinced, and that's fine. But some of us feel like there is change and there is something in the offing here for Manchester United. And look, I can't help but feel positive after what's happened because it has been completely different to what it has been in the norm before. So that's where my stance is on this. People shouldn't be worried because Højlund and Nana walked because they read the room. No, in terms of that, I think what I get from Graham there is that they have been told and there's other players been brought in. Like RUBEN and Man United are talking with actions here rather than conversations, I feel. Look, Man United have always waited to sell players and then struggled right at the last to bring players in. This summer, of all summers, we went out and got players for every single position we wanted, apart from midfield. I'm not forgetting midfield. Don't bite my head off, Carl. I'm only joking, mate. But United have gone out and got players and then sold. That's never happened before at United. Yeah, we've spent money, but we've never gone out and got all our top targets and then just had a mass exodus. That's never happened before for Man United to the extent of this summer's transfer window anyway. But yeah, Onana read the room, left. No problem with that. Man United staff need to get a grip. He was never going to compete. The man wants to play football. He's just not good enough for Man United. I hope he has a good career away from the football club and he moves on. Just like Rasmus Højlund. I think he knew where it was at. He wanted to stay, but he knew, and it was made very, very clear to him that he wasn't going to feature, even if he wanted to stay. And United, I think, forced Højlund out more than any player this summer. I think it was made clear from the get-go at the start of the summer that Rasmus Højlund was going to be one of them players that United didn't want and would try and push him out the door if they could. Andre Onana, don't forget, at the start of the window, was backed by United and was always going to be the number one. And things changed rapidly, which we've just spoken about now. So, yeah, good point from Graham there. I don't be concerned if them players seen what was coming and left. It's because they've been made to think that way. And United are moving forward. This is how it should be at a big club. There's the man himself, Carl. We haven't won a game versus a real proper Prem side since Jan last year at Fulham, by the Villa game, which was a gimme. I don't know if it was a gimme. They were chasing bloody Champions League football. How bad is that? Honestly, when you think about it, last season was horrendous. It was bad. So what did we have to do after that performance last season? We had to really make a statement in the summer, and we did. So 3 games in, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I'm happy to give it a chance just to see how we get on. And then I will judge it when we get to around about November, December time. Like I've always said, Ruben, if he is not in a certain position come December, he's in trouble. And that I will stand by. That, I think, is exactly where any Premier League manager would be at a big club. He has been backed and backed some. I think there is a plan, but I do believe and I feel Ineos are praying that Ruben gets it right. Praying he really does start to turn things around because they want to back him and get behind him again. But if he is in a horrible position again, come that January transfer window at the end of the year, calendar year that is, then he's got a problem. He's in trouble again. We cannot be in the bottom half of that table come December time. We just can't. United need to be in at least in and amongst it. I would say for Ruben to survive, in and amongst top 8 to see through to January and not too far away from like top 6, 5, not a million miles away from top 4, at least within single points. And I think he survives a little bit longer. If we're completely cut off again like we was last season, forget it. I don't think he survives. I think Ineos are fair, backed him, want him to win and want him to succeed, but they're not stupid. They know they have to make a call at some point, and they will. Chris Johnson Adventures, welcome to the Members Club, my man. That's actually 37 members alone. This stream, everybody. Absolutely mega. Don't forget, also, a link in the description, everybody, for your replica shirts from OK Jerseys. We now have a new discount code on there as well. But the shirts are 15 quid. Replica shirts for retros, up-to-date kits, training kits for any club across the globe, everybody. Like this training top for Manchester United. You get the full kit with this as well, shorts as well. Very, very nice. Top quality stuff. So get into the description. Click on the link in there on OK Jerseys. One of the mods will pop it in the chat for you as well soon. Make sure you grab your bargain now. Also, on top of that, there is the new discount code as well, which is going to make the shirt even cheaper for you. So, yep, there you go. Get onto that, please, everybody. If you want to grab yourself a bargain and all the up-to-date kits, get on there right now. Have a go. I'm back in the club, and Ruben, I'm just not allowing him to be let off like he was last season. There is no excuses this season. I don't think you let him off last season, mate, to be honest. I don't think anybody did. I think we were all concerned with it. Look, just because you've come out and said it doesn't mean that you are against him. Just because you're thinking it inside doesn't mean that you are wrong for thinking that. Like, everybody's got concerns over what's happening at Manchester United. It is a real worrying time for the club. But a couple of results in this group of 6 games after what's happened this summer may start to convince fans. My side of this is that Man United have acted on a horrendous football season for this football club. And we're now hoping that what we've done, everything being put aside, everyone that's been sold, the players that have come in, the fresh starting goal, the new forward line, like the midfield, yep, maybe in January. I do believe that Manchester United, with the possession that we've had in games, the control we've had in certain games, not being able to put the ball in the back of the net being our big problem, I've seen enough for Manchester United to believe that we can be competitive this season. And then they need to back him in January and bring in a midfielder. Go out and just pay what you need to for your top target. And then Man United will really compete, I think, for the European places in the last 5 months after the January transfer window is closed. That's what I believe in. That's what I hope is coming for Manchester United. I really do. Let's get some more comments in. Please keep piling in, everybody. We've got one in from Ant. The irony of calling ourselves United. I think that was brought up a few times last season as well, mate. Because that's one thing we definitely wasn't. To have a manager that just says it how it is, that's what every fan wants. He needs to turn this around. He does. It needs to work for him. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's all right me saying this and being all positive. I could be sat here absolutely miserable as hell on Saturday because United have reverted back to what they was. I think there's a chance United could lose, but I think United will be competitive in that game against City. I think we can beat them. I do. I really do think we can beat. And I would love for it to be Ruben Amorim that makes it 3 defeats in a row for Pep Guardiola And then let's sit back, enjoy our weekend, and see what reaction the press have really got for Manchester City. Are they going to go in on them like they would if it was Man United? 3 defeats in 5 for City if they lose that game on Sunday. That's big for Manchester City, and that needs talking about. That's basically them near enough out of the title race. When you think about the amount of games you're allowed to lose in a season and what Liverpool did last season, that's not good for Manchester City. They'd have to go on one of the most monumental runs ever to try and claw that back. So it's massive. Discount code Adam, please, everybody, if you are getting them replicas on OK jerseys. Put that in, get a little bit more off, another 8% off, and go for it. Fofana would have been a wing-back. Yep, that's what I thought, Graham. I pretty much said that before. If he came in, I suppose it would all depend on what Man United were willing to pay for him at that stage of the window. Yeah, I'm not fully convinced that they were all in for him. That's all I'm saying. Mazraoui, the 6 we've been missing as a stopgap, in my opinion, needs legs. I don't want players being moved into round pegs into square holes again. This is where we've gone before instead of going out and getting the right player. You've got midfielders there. Use the midfielders that you've got. And look, at the end of the day, look, we're all waiting to see what Kobbie Mainoo can do. We want to see Kobbie in that Man United midfield. We want to see him next to Casemiro with Bruno further up the pitch. That's what we want. Or do we actually see Kobbie Mainoo alongside Bruno Fernandes at some point and Ruben really starts chancing it? I know that scares a lot of people. But when these players start to learn this system and that centre-back starts stepping forward and filling in that gap and we start to get to grips with this system, then Manchester United should be cherry-picking a perfect midfielder to come in and play that role. And the rest of the team should be capable of challenging and playing. Look, this same team absolutely battered Arsenal on the opening day of the season with Casemiro and Bruno in that midfield. They won that midfield battle. So they've done it against the best that there is and one of the best midfields in Europe right now. So they are competitive. I think when United don't score goals, that's when they start to believe and start, like Ruben says, defending leads that really aren't defendable because they're not big enough. We need to be 2-3-0 up. We need to continue playing a certain way. We need to continue to feel confident in what Ruben's asking these players to do and move forward. We can't just carry away like we did against Fulham. Turn up to Grimsby thinking that we could just bowl them over and get out-fought like we did. It's embarrassing. The Fulham game was more worrying for me than the Grimsby game because we came out in the second half against Grimsby and we completely battered them, apart from the goal that should have stood for Grimsby. But United should have had a few goals in that second half. And we shouldn't have even been talking about being out the Carabao Cup. Yeah, we deserve what we got in the first half. Atrocious. But they got a reaction out. We got a reaction from the players from Ruben Amorim at half-time. So I was confident with that. Still absolutely raging with that first half performance from Man United. Pathetic team performance. Andre Nana right at the heart of that as well. But came back against Burnley, dominated that game. United have dominated the majority of the games that we've played. Fulham was the big concern, like I said, because we set off like a steam train and then just completely fell away. And that was a big, big concern for me. More than anything, that scared me to death, thinking that that's the United of old against a run-of-the-mill, good, solid Premier League team that a lot of people have brought up and said that's the concerning games for Man United. The mid-table games, the ones that we always fail at, and we failed in that game when we should have been putting it to bed. Ineos started the defence in year 1. Amorim, new attack in year 2. Year 3 is the midfield until year 3 by Ineos. We can't say how much progress the team has made. And really see the improvements in trophies. By next summer, Manchester United need to be comfortably challenging for. By next season, United needs to be comfortably challenging for the Champions League. Expect to be in the Champions League. That's where we need to be, for me. With the amount of money that Ineos have spent, over 400 million, nearly $500 million already, United need to be further up that table. Well and truly. Thank you, everybody, for all of the Super Chats and all of your comments in on the show as well. Don't forget, this weekend, Manchester Derby, live here, watch along on Forever United TV. Match bingo as well. We are going full bore. 200% deposit boost right now on Match Bingo. If you use the promo code FUTV, you will be boosted by 200% with your match deposit. So that £5 that you bump in as a new member of Match Bingo, that will be boosted instantly by Match Bingo and doubled for new customers. But if you haven't used that code yet, get onto that code right now. In the promo code, hit FUTV, all caps, and get a deposit boost by 200%. Special for FUTV members going into the game against Manchester City this weekend. We are doing a Match Bingo special, everybody. Let's just do a quick update on all of the news and everything going around. Are you support? I've made a loan offer for Tyrell Malacia, but the player at this stage is unsure whether he will accept the move. That's coming from Pete Hall. Now, this is what we said. It is all down to Tyrell Malacia. That's the latest transfer news on that situation. He's still unsure whether to make the move yet. I don't know what his thinking is. He's running out of options. He's got until Friday to officially make that move away from Manchester United and continue to play, basically. He needs another football club ASAP because he isn't going to feature for Manchester United. You can guarantee that one. But look, we'll see what happens with Tyrell Malacia. I'll update you on that again in the morning if anything does happen. We're going to keep on top of that. By the way, the Match Bingo link, if you're struggling with a QR code, is in the live chat as well. So get on to that, everybody, please. Match Bingo live link there, right in the live chat now. So get across to that. Please give this video a like. Make sure that you have hit that subscribe button as well, everybody. I am going to wrap things up there for tonight. It's an absolute pleasure having you all on board yet again. I love these chats in the middle of the football coming back. We get down to some topics that we don't usually talk about while the season's on. But the clock is ticking, and we are getting closer to that game this weekend. We'll get the pictures, the updates from everything that happened at the first day back in trading today from Manchester United players in the media by tonight, tomorrow, I'm guessing. We'll go through all of that news as it drops. But for now, everybody, that's all's finished here on FUTV. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Mods, excellent job yet again in the chat there. Well done, everybody. Thank you, new members. Thank you, Super Chats. Pop a like on the video after this. Pop a like